You label each recipe with a sweetness rating, which is kind of
I
cool.
love that. That was the idea of our book designer, Janine Elder. And this is actually going to help people because there's a little grid. Let me find it and we explain it. So somebody like you that thinks, uh-oh, too much sugar, if you pick the lowest sweetness one, and again, I'm not telling you to eat these because if but there is a thing that while I look for the grid that I will say, and this may not be you, but for some people, when they tell themselves they can never have something again, it's possible that they may want it even more. And it wasn't until I gave myself permission to eat whatever I wanted within the realm of the whole foods that were healthy that I finally, was able to just not overeat. And the funny thing is as delicious as these desserts are, if I have room after dinner, I'd rather eat chips and salsa. I went from being a complete sugar addict to somebody that actually prefers savory foods.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, that's what I want to ask you about after you show us the sweetness rating in your book. Can you talk about neuroadaptation to different tastes?
Absolutely. This is from what I've learned from Dr. Alan Goldhammer, the co-author of The Pleasure Trap and the co-founder of the True North Health Center, where I had the privilege to work for many years. He talks about neuroadaptation or getting used to something. And we can neuroadapt in terms of taste. Now, people are like, well, how's that possible? Well, think about other areas that you may have neuroadapted for, but don't even think about it. So to give an example, most people have gone to a movie theater in their life, and it's very possible that you've arrived late. And when you arrive late, it's very hard to see at first to find your seat. But if you just stand still for a few minutes, your eyes will adjust to the new level of darkness and you'll be able to see and sit and find a seat. The same thing can happen with your taste buds. People that grew up like I did in the 60s, we often were switched as children from whole milk to non-fat milk. I don't think milk is good at all. I'm allergic to milk. I'm 47-year vegan, but I was like a year old, so I didn't have a choice. But my parents read something or saw something on the news that whole milk was no longer good, so now we drink non-fat milk. Well, if you're used to drinking whole milk, which is very rich, and then you go to non-fat milk, which tastes kind of like water, you're like, I'm not going to drink this, but our parents didn't buy anything else. So guess what? We got used to the more watery milk. And then on occasion, when we'd go to a relative's house and it was whole milk, it's like, this tastes like paint. Well, the same thing happens to your taste buds. If you're used to assaulting your taste buds with a high fat, high sugar diet, specifically coming from sugar, fat, and salt, then some of the subtler tastes and flavors, like a ripe peach, may not excite you at first because you're not getting that hit of dopamine. Because the more concentrated the calories, the more dopamine is released. And what has more concentration of calories than oil at 4,000 calories a pound, sugar at 1,800 calories per pound? But if you stop assaulting your taste buds, either by just stopping those foods for a while, doesn't mean forever, could be as little as a few days to 30 days, depending on the person, or for people that need this process of neuroadaptation to go quicker, go to the True North Health Center where Dr. Goldhammer and the medical doctors will supervise a therapeutic, medically supervised water only fast. Your taste buds, it's like they regenerate. It's sort of like if anybody used to smoke, and I did, I'm not proud of it, but during my anorexic college years, I did. When you smoke, you're actually burning your taste buds. That's why chefs that smoke, and I've worked with chefs, their food has much more seasoning because they can't taste. They're burning their taste buds. It always had so much pepper and so much salt. But if a person stops smoking and stops assaulting and burning their taste buds, eventually those taste nerves regenerate. And the same thing can happen with food. It's actually a miracle. Not, I don't say miracle, but it's amazing that it can, because I've heard Dr. Furman talk about this for years because he said, I don't eat this way because I have to. The food tastes good to me. We are designed to love and appreciate whole natural food. But if we've been raised on a standard American diet full of animal products and processed food, a ripe peach would be like torture to somebody that's looking for sugar. It takes time. You have to give yourself some grace, because then go from a 43-year sugar addict to kale for breakfast. You have to give yourself some time to adjust.
I have to agree. It was my birthday yesterday, and I did not even want cake. I didn't even feel deprived from cake. It was amazing. I had blueberries instead, and I was totally happy. And if you had asked me that 8 months ago, because it's only been 6 months or so that I haven't had, I would have laughed in your face. I would have said, that is not, fruit is just a waste of sugar calories, is what I would have said.
Well, happy birthday, first of all. And I feel the same way. I mean, after I got off sugar, I didn't, you know what I would get for my birthday? It's called edible arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
It's like these beautiful flowers made out of cantaloupe and pineapple and strawberries, because most of the stuff in the book is too sweet for me now. But hey, we've got a whole world out there that they're not there yet.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Did you want to show about the
Yeah,
sweetness?
I found it right here. It's on page 12. And so what we do is we rate the sweetness scale with a strawberry. So one strawberry means it's subtly sweet. So for example, if we have some nice creams that are made out of things like bananas or apples, those are subtly sweet because their sweetness is coming just from the whole fruit. Not that we don't have any processed fruits in here, but I do make syrup out of dates for some of the recipes. And then if it has two strawberries, it's nice and sweet. So it's sweeter than the subtly sweet. The subtly sweet may not be sweet enough for the average person. And the nice and sweet may still not be sweet enough. But three strawberries, like the peanut butter chocolate cheesecake, for example, the German chocolate cake, these are superbly sweet. And these are desserts that when I was the pastry chef, the executive pastry chef at Sante Restaurant in Los Angeles, that you can fool people with. They won't know that they're vegan. They don't know that they're sweetened with dates. We do something similar for the fat content because some people are following more of a Dr. McDougall, Ornish, Esselstyn, Pritikin diet, and they don't want a lot of nuts or other fats in their desserts. So we rate them as too low fat, which would be something that, like maybe like an oat and fruit type of thing. Then we rate them as semi-decadent, which has medium fat, and rich and decadent. And then they're mixed and matched throughout the book. But I thought that this grid on every recipe was just a brilliant idea.
It is. It's really nice to have that extra information. You don't put calories in, which so you've chosen to look at it from another point of view.
Right. So if I ever do get criticism for my recipes, is that I don't put calories in serving sizes. And that's because I don't know how much you eat. I don't know how hungry you are. Is a serving size for a 6'7", 250-pound male the same as a petite, 4'11", 90-pound female? What is a serving size? If you get a pint of Haagen-Dazs or any ice cream, it says 4 servings, really? Because that looks like about a serving to me. So I don't know I do give how many servings it makes. I want people to know that if they make this, it will make about 20 cookies or it will make about 12 slices. But I never want to be the person telling people how much they can eat, because I think that's where people get caught up in diet culture and weighing and measuring. If they really understand what foods to eat, whole food, plant-based, with no oil and little or no sugar or salt, and then the amount of fat going to vary on an individual genetics, they don't have to worry about serving sizes. That said, I don't recommend anybody eat an entire German chocolate cake for breakfast.